This is the Nerdy Things Podcast. This podcast contains strong language, adult themes, and poorly developed ideas. We apologize for nothing. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 36 of the Nerdy Things Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kevin. I am joined, as always, by Jules. Hey, Jules.
Heyo.
And I didn't hear Jules.
You didn't hear my heyo?
No, so I'm going to assume he said hello, and I'm also joined by Tim. Hey, Tim, what's going on?
What's up, Kevin?
Not much.
That's weird.
Not much. Just enjoying the nerdy week.
I guess.
Getting ready to go to Broadway and Boston show this evening. I'm going to see Fun Home, first in a 6-series thing that I bought season tickets to.
Wow. So
Yeah.
what's this one about? Do you know anything about it, or are you just like, I'll figure it out when I get there?
I'll figure it out when I get there. I hear it's based on a graphic novel, but I don't know much beyond that. So,
a musical based on a graphic novel?
Hey, listen, I don't ask questions. I bought these tickets so I could get Hamilton next year, and I did, and I'll just go to everything else in between.
I'm just saying that seems like something we should all be going to.
You would think.
Ripe for podcast content right there.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, good luck with
I hope
that.
good luck. Have fun. and probably make Patreon content or something for it.
I'll try. I'll see what I can come up with. Oh, boy.
But yeah, so thank you guys. Thank you everybody that's listening right now for listening. And if this is your first introduction to us and what we do, hey, how's it going? We're the Nerdy Things Podcast. We talk about nerdy stuff. We talk about the nerdy news, and then we do a main topic. And the main topic this week is going to be Adam Sandler, his movies. We're going to be talking about our favorite movies and all that stuff. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking about it at the end of the podcast, so you don't want to miss it. And we want to let you know that this is not only an audio podcast, but this is a video podcast. So if you like watching YouTube videos, or if that's easier for you, you can go to our YouTube page, at Nerdy Things Pod. I think you can find it there, but you can watch the whole thing on video, and that's usually a more raw, uncut sort of feel to what we do and how we do it. So that's a little bit more to how, we actually do it every Wednesday. So if you like videos over audio, just audio, whatever, you can listen to or watch us and listen to us on the YouTubes, as the older people say, as Kevin says.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, we have to have a get off my lawn segment. We are on all the social media as well, at Nerdy Things Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We post a bunch of stuff. We post all the nerdy news that we talk about. We post memes on Instagram and all that stuff, some Insta stories. I'm pretty sure Tim is doing one right now while I'm talking. But we do that, and we interact on Twitter. So go follow us, go like us, and do all that good stuff. And yeah, on nerdythingspod.com is where you can find all of the crazy stuff that we do. So you can get links to the podcast, links to the YouTube page, links to all our Facebook, Twitter, and all that stuff. But then we also have a Patreon where you can get more exclusive content and some merch. You can get some Nerdy Things Podcast merch, and we have some pretty cool stuff. We just put up the little button that we made. It says NTP and it says Nerdy Things Pod. You can get that on a shirt if you want. We have some pretty cool designs that are custom made by us. So go check that out. We all have some nerdy shirts. I'm not rocking one right now, but we all have some nerdy shirts. We have pictures with nerdy shirts and all that stuff. So go check it out at nerdythingspod.com. And there's some exclusive articles that we write and all that good stuff. So
perfect.
Go check it out.
Sounds good.
Yeah, again, we don't have an iTunes review. We had one last week. We don't have an iTunes review. I'm looking at you, really mad at you. Go do it. Go leave us an iTunes review if you like us or if you don't.
Whatever. No, but we did have a voicemail, actually.
Oh, whoa. Plot twist.
I know. I'm going to have to download that and get it to us, but I will play that a little later in the episode.
Nice. So yeah, you can call us or text us. I forget the number. What's the number, Kev?
Number is 978-78-NERDY.
978-78
That's
nerdy.
978-78 nerdy.
Call us, leave us a text or whatever, and we'll play it on the show. So it'll be pretty cool.
Awesome. So
I'm ready.
I think it's time to get into the nerdy news.
Nerdy news.
Is it though?
I think it is. Yeah, it's time to get into the nerdy news.
Okay.
Nerdy news.
At 6 o'clock. So, Tim, why don't you want to get into the nerdy news this week?
No, nothing. I'm trying to Insta story at the same time as doing this podcast. It's distracting me. I'm very discombobulated. I set up this new mic arm thing. I'm trying to finish my smoothie. There's just so much going on. It's
God,
very confusing.
This early?
I couldn't hear Jules. I couldn't hear Jules for about 20 seconds, so I don't know what he said. I was waiting for Kevin to react, and I didn't sufficiently understand based on his reaction. So things are just, I don't know, dude.
I'm recording. I got it. All right.
Let's do it.
Whatever.
So first thing on the list this week is that they released the full cast for Fantastic Beasts 2, and the big name on it is Jessica Williams, who has been all over Comedy Central, great comedian, and she's really the only recognizable name I saw on that entire list.
Yeah, for sure. And they did it on Pottermore, right? Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, pretty much from the returning cast, yeah, everybody was pretty much going to come back. Well, Jude Law is confirmed as young Dumbledore, so that's pretty cool too. But yeah, pretty much you knew everybody was going to come back that you already saw, and then all these other names, I'm with Kevin. I really don't know who they are, but I mean, sure, I'm totally okay with that.
I knew the character names, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Some of these mean things, like there's Rockwell and like people that we've been introduced to in the later story. So I knew the characters. I just didn't know anybody who was playing them either, really, for the most part.
Yeah, it was just, I mean, you're exactly right. Like, I saw all of this. I guess the big thing was that they left Johnny Depp out of the lineup and then had to add him back in, too.
Yeah, later.
Because that was a mistake. It looked like originally that they had recast him, which I would not have had a problem with, I guess. Because I think that was just a weird thing. But whatever. Hey, what do I know? I'm not making this movie.
That was super weird at the end. If you haven't seen it, it was kind of interesting. I was like, whoa, okay. This is a thing, I guess. Cool.
Yeah. But, what a twist.
Yeah, whatever. He's back. It's cool. I don't know.
We never really talked about that. Like, I mean, Jules and I are both huge Harry Potter fans. Kevin's a big Harry Potter fan. This happened pre-podcast. So we never really talked about Fantastic Beasts. I'm looking forward to an opportunity at some point where we can really dive into some Harry Potter stuff, but specifically that movie, because I think it was kind of divisive amongst Harry Potter fans.
Yeah, once the sequel comes out, we'll do a double feature. We'll lump them together and talk about how good and bad and ugly they are.
Sure. I remember for that movie, I got a press screening for it, and me, my dad, and my grandpa were the last ones that they let in. There was like a huge line, and we were the last ones that got let in, and me and my dad were in the very first row in the middle. So I'm there looking up at a fucking 90-degree angle, just fucking staring at this movie screen, and my neck hurt. So that might have something to do with how I like the movie or not, because I was just staring straight up at this movie. But it was fun. It's a good movie.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it was a good movie. There in the theater I go to, there are no bad seats. So even in the front, like that's preferable. True. You can sit there; it's fine.
I love IMAX. Don't have one of those.
I tend to disagree. The front seats that's a big screen to be sitting that close. It's still tough.
Trust me, man. I mean, you got to move your head a little bit, but you got so much leg room. It's awesome. Jules would be in heaven there because he is tall AF.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. There's actually one specific row there where there's like a railing in front of you, and it's like extra leg room. It's like the airplane seats with extra leg room, and I want to rename that Jules's row.
Nice. Yes, please. Reserve it next time, because this last time when I watched Kingsman, the fucking people sat right in front of me, and I was like, okay, cool. This whole goddamn place, and you're going to sit right in front of me. So make that happen. Reserve some seats, please.
That's the worst when that happens, but what can you do?
Right.
The other movie, we had a trailer this week come out for New Mutants, so that's cool. I think we'll be getting that at my theater too. It's apparently a horror movie with B-level X-Men type things. So mutants in a horror movie. Did you guys watch this trailer at all?
Yeah. How does is this connected to anything? Or
that's not a question you're allowed to ask ever again about X-Men. No.
Is this?
No, it's not. It's not connected to anything, I'm sure. No. And even if it is, it isn't. Spoiler alert.
Wasn't there
so
some mutant
doesn't matter.
Show?
It's
Another
fine.
Show?
Very zen about the whole thing. Actually, I was telling Tim the other day, Gifted is spectacular. If you're not watching Gifted, you're failing at life.
So
Gifted
wait,
is awesome.
This is
That's
connected
the X-Men.
to Gifted, huh? No?
Fox. No, this isn't connected to Gifted. This is all separate. This is all. It doesn't matter. It's fine. It's fine. It's all good.
Take a deep breath.
It's all
Kev.
good.
Take a deep
It's all
breath.
good. It's all good.
I didn't
Doesn't
see
have to
the
be connected.
trailer, but when I read our little show notes and what we were going to talk about, I kept reading it as New Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So then I went on this whole Google spree trying to find information on a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that didn't exist. So
That's
that was
pretty funny.
confusing for me.
Marvel's
I don't
making
want
it
that
now,
either.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, the New Mutants trailer, it was decent, but I think most of what I'm thinking was decent was just because it's different for Marvel and not at all different for a horror movie. Like this trailer had every single trope from every single horror movie that's come out over the last 20 years.
Yeah, and it was really interesting, and they didn't really, I don't know, the way they showed like their powers, them using their powers, or the way they're thinking about using their powers is making it seem like it's going against, what they're trying to do in this world, or they're trying to conceal them or whatever. And it's kind of the same thing as always with, mutants and stuff. They're trying not to let it out, but here they are as kids in this, what they said, quote, horror. This is not a fucking, I don't know, whatever. This is not a, what do they say? This is not a hospital. This is like a fucking horror movie or something. Or yeah, I don't know.
Something like
I'm
that.
okay. Yeah, something like that. I literally just watched it like 2 minutes ago, so I can't fucking remember.
So
Whatever.
you still don't even have complete thoughts about it. That's fine.
No, yeah.
That's fine. That sounds like most of the Marvel things that aren't done by Marvel is they're just not a complete thought. It doesn't really fit exactly what they thought they were going to do with it. Like Gambit. Apparently, we're getting Gambit on Valentine's Day in 2018.
Hell yeah, because when you think of love, you think of Gambit.
That's going to be great. Well, I think they're thinking like Deadpool, because Deadpool came out around that time of year, too.
It's not going to be the same.
Wasn't
Exactly.
Deadpool on Valentine's Day as well?
It was.
I think it was, yeah, because they were. There was a bunch of ads. There was a whole ad series for Deadpool that made it look more like a rom-com than the horrible death fight movie that it was. That was spectacular.
Well, strategically, it's actually super smart because you've got a couple of things going on there. If you're a single dude, what are you going to do on Valentine's Day if that movie opens?
Yep.
You're going to see that movie. It's like, oh, I can sit home and like feel weird about not having a date, or I can go see a super awesome superhero action movie. Perfect solution. Secondly, you've got the nerdy couples, our key demographic. If you're in a relationship and you're both nerdy people, or if you just want to do something nice for your spouse that's the nerdy one, you go see that movie. So that's a perfect time to release a movie like that. Like 100%
no, I agree completely.
Strategically brilliant. And the way, of course, because everything Ryan Reynolds does is kind of self-deprecating and whatnot, marketing it like it's a Valentine's movie as a joke for people who are in on the joke makes it even more exciting. So perfect idea. And I like that they're doing that again. I think it's a brilliant move on their part.
Yeah, no, I agree. Usually Jenny and I would go to a horror movie on Valentine's Day.
Nice.
Last couple of years, there hasn't been anything that's really sparked my interest. But, Deadpool was that 2 years ago. It was pretty decent. So I was very happy to have that, because that's right around my birthday. So happy birthday to me.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember episode 1 was your birthday or something. Whenever episode 1 came out, you're like, yeah, it's my birthday. And I'm like, oh shit, Kevin, happy birthday.
Yep. Yeah, episode 1 of this came out on the 16th, the day after my birthday. We recorded this on my birthday, I believe, episode 1. So, yay.
Yeah.
What a present for Kevin. The
I
start of
know.
a new venture in
You
life.
get to meet me.
Speaking of presents for Kevin, what's coming out in February is going to be Black Panther. Did you guys watch that trailer?
Oh man, that looks intense. I really liked it. I really dig it.
I really get tingles every time a trailer for Black Panther comes out. I had read a review that this trailer gave away too much in the film. And I almost just said, you know what? I don't need to watch it. I'm going to go see it anyway, but I couldn't hold off. I watched it just minutes ago before we started recording.
Yeah, I didn't
watch this one, but the last one was so good. Like this movie, the more I see the trailers, the more hyped I get for it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's tough not to. The music is perfect. The acting looks spectacular, and it just, I don't know, like they seem to have built up this high tech yet, I don't know, authentic culture that's just sort of been hidden away. I can't wait to see how it fits in and just watch this unfold.
Yeah, authentic was a good word, because even from this last trailer that I just watched, the new one, it seems like, they've been living there for a while, and it does feel like they're already set in their ways. They already know how to, do well on their own with this new technology. Yep. They all have technology and all the stuff, and they already are used to having all that stuff, and it doesn't feel weird for the audience to kind of just, I know we're just jumping into this world, but for them it's, it's been this whole thing this whole time. So that's definitely something really good, kind of like what we talked about Blade Runner, the way they put you into this world, and it feels like, it's really authentic. It's really, what they've been doing for this long. And it's sort of the same thing with the whole world. And I'm really excited. Black Panther is going to be cool. I don't know a whole lot about his character, so I'm really interested in seeing what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, it did seem like this was consistent with everything else Marvel has done. We do have a character in it that seems to have the same powers as Black Panther, so it'll be like Iron Man 1 when he goes against Ironmonger. I'm sure it'll be a superior yet inferior suit or man inside the suit. But I still, that doesn't take away from the movie. This is a world they've set up that needs the outside world less than the outside world needs it. They have the technology. Sure. They've been set apart. They've chosen this life, and then they're being dragged out into the real world. And it's just like that fish out of water that we get with Thor. I think we're going to see it on a much grander scale. And we're going to see some of the reverse of that. And I just think that that's great. I love the way Marvel turns things on its head like that.
Mm-hmm. And the cool thing about this too is it's like Doctor Strange, where it's not a huge comic book property, so there's not a ton of people that are familiar with it. So it gives them all this opportunity to really introduce people to something that's totally cool, and introduce them to it in a cinematic universe. The first time a lot of people are seeing Black Panther is going to be on screen, so that's a fun introduction where you don't have these kind of preconceived notions and stuff like that. And I just like how they take some of these smaller properties and bring them to the forefront. And it's like, Doctor Strange, what the heck was that? I had no idea what I was going into watching, but when I left the movie, I was like, that is really freaking cool. So I like how they're doing that.
We don't need his origin story. We've already seen him in Civil War. We already know he exists. We have the baseline for it, and I'm sure they'll expand on that, but they don't have to spend the entire movie setting him up. So, awesome for that. I can't wait.
No more origin stories.
We heard last week, I think, that the next Ragnarok is going to be the part 1 of the 3-part Hulk. We talked a little bit about that. Part 2 and 3 are going to be Avengers 3 and 4. What we didn't get to last week that didn't come out yet, I don't think, was that Mark Ruffalo apparently streamed some of the premiere of Ragnarok to his Instagram page, because he was playing around and hit some buttons and then just put it in his pocket. So thanks, Mark.
Yeah, that's really funny. That's definitely on par with what some other superheroes have done. But I think this is like the biggest thing that somebody's done to revealing a lot of stuff. So he just kind of streams it to some stuff and to Instagram, and people are going crazy, and it's like, he made a mistake. I really like Mark Ruffalo. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, exactly. But he's actually repeatedly let things out of the bag that he shouldn't have. And Marvel has those snipers that'll take anybody down that does that. Yeah. Anthony Mackie was under threat for that a while ago. And then Tom Holland was the biggest leak of all of Spider-Man. So Ruffalo's taking the heat now, and Tom Holland's taking pot shots at him on Twitter and all that. Nice. So that's oh man. I love Tom Holland, but he needs to just keep his head down, because
because you're kind of messing with something that you don't want to get into. Yeah,
you wouldn't like the Hulk when he's angry.
Tom Babyface Holland.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that guy.
God.
Well, there was talk that Tom Holland was going to be in the lead for Phase 4 of Marvel. So apparently, it was recently announced that Marvel won't have a Phase 4. I mean, they'll still have the
That's
movies.
because Tom Holland was going to be in the lead.
That's, screw
That's
you.
why.
But it's
Sorry. That's pretty much that's pretty much not a coincidence.
I think it's smart for them to get away from the phases. They've been blocked by the Avengers movies, and I think that setting in stone the need to have that come together continuity point is going to hinder them from this point forward, especially where Avengers 3 and 4 is going to be like a 40-person clusterfuck.
Sure.
So I think that's actually smart. Like, I think that it should just be sort of a branching, you want to do this movie type of thing.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on that?
I think in the beginning, back when they first started making these movies, it was okay to be like, oh, we have this huge plan, and it's like, okay, they're not just making a few movies. This is actually going to be a thing. I really like these. I really like what Marvel's doing. The Marvel movies, maybe when they first did one or two of them, they're like, wow, I really like these. And now they have a bunch of them planned out. Okay, this is really
cool. 22 more that are in the works.
Yeah, with all these other characters. Okay, they did this character really well, so I'm really hyped for this. Phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. Cool, whatever. But then now we're actually getting to the end of it, and it's like, oh, okay, well, what's going to happen now? And it's like, yeah, well, that worked for the beginning, but now it's like, we have a lot of money now, and we have a lot of things going for us. So I think we can like chill out on this whole thing. And yeah, like you said, it's going to be 40 whatever plus superheroes. We're going to need to come down from that at some point. It can't be that intense every time. So they're going to need to like give some movies to chill out and be like, okay, we're going to restart. We're going to relax on this and stuff like that. So yeah, I think in the beginning it was good, but now it's cool.
No, I think it'll give them time and space to just kind of breathe and do their own thing without having to worry. Maybe they can do a prequel movie I think that's what they're going to do with Captain Marvel. I think they're probably going to do some more Guardians-esque movies. We'll get like a Nova spin-off or something like that. So we can have separate spaces where we can have these movies and not have to worry about it anymore. So I'm happy. I think that'll work pretty well.
Yeah, they just need to make movies. That's really all people care about. The whole phase 1, 2, 3, that was a great kind of internal structure for them to know where their story was going. Because they are, like you said, there's going to be like 40 superheroes. So they're managing all these different story arcs. And initially, to have the cohesion made people buy into all of it together, which is what we've seen lacking in DC. So from an internal structure standpoint, I think that made sense for them to have. I think the vast majority of the billions of dollars spent going to see their movies are by people completely unaware of any phases of Marvel's story arc.
Yeah.
This is for people like us.
What movies they like.
Yeah, this is for people like us. So it's fun fodder to talk about when we know what's coming. But I think their success from an external standpoint has very little to do with the awareness of different phases of Marvel movies. So I think it was fine for their own internal structure. If they want to get rid of that structure, or if they just don't want to publicly talk about it, that's perfectly fine. I don't think it's going to impact the box office numbers or, more importantly, the quality of their movies, because they've established enough now where they can just make them, put them out, people will see them, and they're probably going to be good. So as long as they continue doing that, I don't think whether it's technically part of a phase 4 or 5 or however you want to talk about it really matters. It's just making the good movies at this point. It's what's driving them forward.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that continuity can really hedge you in, and that's fine. That's we're seeing some of that, I think, coming out of the backlash from the name of the Solo movie, the Han Solo movie, which is going to be apparently Solo, a Star Wars story, which fans of Han Solo think it should have had a more grand name or something.
Sure, whatever.
Because everybody on the internet's up in arms about this, and it's fine. It literally doesn't matter.
No, like what's in a name, really? We know what it is. Whenever you go to... Oh, God, what is in a name?
A rose by any other name. Anyways.
A Solo by any other name is still Han Solo. And he's still going to be a badass. Like, it's not a thing. Solo, I like that they stick with a Star Wars story. that they're gonna still go with those, so that kind of leaves them open to make other movies like this, so it can be like something a Star Wars story, and I really like that. I mean,
Obi-Wan.
I don't mind. Yeah, I'm really okay with this with this title, and everybody's like, oh my god, this is very cautious of them or something like that, and it's like, it's just a name.
It's simple and it's to the point. A title from a movie is either going to be one of two things. It's going to be about the character around which the movie's centered, or it's going to be a key element or a reference to the plot around which it was centered. We don't know anything about the plot. I don't want to know anything about the plot until I see the movie. So if we just call it Solo, great. I know who it's about. That's good. Now I know a movie I'm going to see. Thanks for cluing me in, so I bought the right ticket. I don't need to know anything about the story, so just make it Solo. Perfect. I know I've gone to see the right movie. Thanks, guys.
I'm just afraid they're going to use that as like a way to work in the title, because they'll be like, the movie's going to open. It's going to be the actor we know is playing Han Solo, but he wakes up wearing a name tag that says like Steve, and he works at Space Kinkos. And he goes through these wacky adventures, and at the end, he's like, I guess I got to change my name and go it alone and go. His
name was actually
Solo.
Han Leibowitz.
Yeah.
And he didn't think it was going to be as marketable. So
too many letters. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't really put that on a shirt.
He's like, I guess I'm Solo. And then the credits roll.
Boom. Solo.
We watched the whole story about Han Leibowitz finds the Millennium Falcon and meets Chewie. and starts his plundering ways. And then at the end, they're like, if you want to make your name for yourself in space, Leibowitz isn't very intimidating.
Yeah, like the whole movie everybody's making.
I shall be Solo. Boom, cut to black. I don't know.
That's great.
They could do it, because Ron Howard is weird and wacky. And I could see him cutting this whole movie and doing exactly that, because apparently he teased on, I think it was Instagram or Twitter this week, that there's going to be two characters that are not canon characters, that are from the comics from Star Wars, that are going to make at least a background appearance in this movie. They are Tag and Bink. And if you haven't read the comics for them, they are spectacular. It basically explains a lot of the wacky stuff that happens in Star Wars and just kind of sloughs it off because it doesn't care. And I kind of like it. I think it's cool. A nice nod to true fans, and something that doesn't affect somebody who doesn't know any better.
So their characters are humorous in nature. Is that what I'm understanding from what you just said?
Yeah,
I hope this movie's funny. Like, that's my genuine hope, is that this movie's funny, because the Han Solo character is very sarcastic, dry, witty kind of guy, very irreverent. So I'm really hoping that this is almost a Guardians of the Galaxy type, where it is a space comedy. Like, I think that would serve this movie best. Also, just to separate it from the Star Wars. The Star Wars movies are so serious. I love them, but they take themselves very seriously. And Han Solo was always the lighthearted element of that. So I really hope that this movie just blows the roof off of that and becomes the lighthearted story in this whole Star Wars universe that we've been introduced to thus far. I think that would be a great direction for this film.
That would definitely set it apart. Point. Yeah.
The Star Wars movies are a story about one family. And so I'm fine that they have a similar tone throughout. There's some humor, but they are serious movies. And this would be a great way to do that epic space comedy. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking the Star Wars movies saying that they take themselves too seriously. They just they take themselves very seriously. And I think that's because it's a very serious plot. People are dying. Entire races are in danger. There's evil. There's good. That's what makes the movie so great.
Whoa. But Jar Jar Binks, what about him?
Yeah, so that's the thing. So I think they've, over the course of time, from the inception, recognized that. So they've tried to introduce something lighthearted, and that was Han Solo in the original three. And then they tried to do things like Jar Jar Binks, which didn't work, obviously, in the other ones there.
The other ones.
Call them those ones. The Han Solo character is the lighthearted element of Star Wars, and since this is centered around him, I would just love that to be the tone of the whole movie in this case. I think it would be a fun departure.
Yeah, I love comedies. And
Me too.
I didn't like Sausage Party. the comedy.
You didn't like
apparently,
Sausage Party?
but apparently
No,
the
I
director
love
for that is
Sausage
going to take
Party.
on Addams Family. So that'll be good. What are your thoughts? You love Sausage Party, Jules. Do you know the
Yeah.
Addams Family, or are you just way too
Yes,
young
I know
for that?
the Addams Family.
I wasn't sure.
Every time you introduce something that maybe came out in the 90s, you're like, do you know this thing? Yeah.
Well, the Addams Family's from the 60s, actually, so...
Oh, okay, well,
So
okay. Then no, I don't know the Addams Family. I know the newer Addams Family, but yeah, they're super cool. I mean, I don't know
All right.
about this guy doing his thing. I don't know. Who's
I mean,
even the director
I honestly-
of this? Wasn't this Seth Rogen?
no, Seth Rogen
No.
wasn't the director of that.
I'm actually
No.
looking that up as we speak because I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
it's
his
two of them.
Conrad
Which one-
Vernon.
Which one? Okay, Conrad Vernon.
And it's going to be an animated film, so it'll be like Sausage Party.
Yeah,
But,
he's done mostly animated movies. That's kind of his thing, it looks like. Interesting.
Yeah, I just can't bring myself to care, especially where it's an animated movie. This, like the Jetsons, which he was originally slated to, or at least rumored to be directing that. I don't think we need this. Like, what is this guy's deal with wanting to resurrect these weird properties that nobody's cared about in the last 40 years and try to make them more relevant in animated or live action form? I just don't see the need for it.
No, it's that money. It's always that money.
You're
That
not
kinda
wrong.
sucks.
No, it's that cheap, easy reboot money, and that's what's getting us that. We're getting a Roswell reboot for some reason. We're getting a Blue Crush reboot. We're getting a Beetlejuice sequel because apparently there's movement on that because it now has a writer. Great.
Good.
I guess.
They didn't get that writer from Cold Moon, huh? He's doing
No.
so well.
No,
So you need to get
he's
a new
busy
one.
doing other things.
Cool.
But yeah, I just don't. I mean, really, honestly, I can't understand why they're just letting people go through the archives and being like, hey, nobody's heard of this before except everybody that doesn't want to give a shit about it. So let's reboot it. And they bring it back.
Reboots
not
are
my
the
thing.
thing, man. Reboots are the thing. What
Yeah,
do we
they don't.
own?
They shouldn't be anymore.
What do we repurpose? What can we recycle? What can we rebrand? What can we redo? Let's everything. Re-it. Slogan.
If it still has what's his name as Beetlejuice, then maybe okay.
Well,
Sure.
I was just going to say, Beetlejuice is out of the list that you just named, probably the only one that I can get behind because Michael Keaton is on a freaking roll right now. So
Yeah.
if he's
Hey, go.
back on board,
Go Keaton. Yeah, I'm in for
seriously.
that, but I don't know. Beyond that, you're gonna have to sell me on it.
Roswell, what's
Michael Keaton, that's enough. Like, do I need more to sell you than Michael Keaton? Think about like the last 5 or 6 movies that guy's made. He is on fire.
I'm gonna
He
need
is.
to see Beetlejuice dressed up in a giant bird costume. Just to, I need a third movie with him in a bird costume. That's all I need in my life
Sure.
right now.
I have a question though about the Blue Crush sequel. It's not sequel, reboot,
Yeah,
TV show.
reboot.
Why isn't this with a male cast?
Wouldn't that make the most sense with all the
Okay.
gender
Right?
swaps they're doing now?
Am I right? Let's
We've
do
got the
a
nice
Blue
guys.
Crush reboot with a male cast. That's the perfect
You know
thing
what?
to do.
I am in. There you go. I mean,
if
this
they
is
gender swap it, sure.
I know this
Ugh.
is a terrible thing for me to say because I actually read the synopsis of it on online, and it's all about like female empowerment and stuff like that. And I'm all for it. Don't get me wrong. Like you're talking to a podcast here that we are behind feminism. We're with all that stuff. It's just the irony of the fact that we have an all female movie that we're trying to reboot. The trend would be to make that an all male movie. That would just seem like the nicest thing to do compared to whatever everything else is going on.
I'm
But the
fine with it
person
being
who's-
all female, but just I don't think we need it. I mean, it was a movie that
Yeah.
it was just adequate. I don't think we need more than that. No
I mean,
one's
if they have a good-
clamoring for this.
If they have a good idea, though, it is being directed, run, writing, executive producer by Hannah Schneider, who was the head of the show Reign, which was a Mary Queen
Okay.
of Scots kind of reinterpretation for the CW. Very kind of, teenage drama thing. I watched
So this
it.
is going to be good for TV.
Yeah,
basically what
well,
they're
that's what I'm saying.
saying.
Like my
Yes.
wife liked this show. Some of her, her sister-in-law liked it. Some other people. I watched the show. I didn't hate it. It was like a cool CW thing where every commercial break is like a major jaw-dropping moment that just happened, and none of the plot is like too sophisticated, but there's stuff happening all the damn time. So that's exciting. And that show just ended. So this woman was obviously looking for a project. So if she has a vision for how she can make this Blue Crush idea into a cool TV show that empowers women, I actually think it could work. Like, sure, if it's done right, sure, why not?
And I hope that it does work, but I'm calling it right now. It's not going to work at NBC, which is, I think, where this is going.
Yeah, that's probably true too. NBC will
probably not the right
take
spot.
some of the creative reins away from her. So yeah, I'll agree with that.
This would be much better at the CW. Like, I can see this working there. I'd be fine with that because it literally
They'll
doesn't
take whatever.
matter. But NBC is going to kill this. Like, it's not going to happen. So
CW say that's the thing. Like, if you're writing TV shows right now and you're not going to be doing stuff for Netflix, let's say, and it's not a sitcom, you should be trying to work with CW because they just let you do whatever the heck you want. You know what I mean? They don't cancel TV shows. They're like, we're not sure if we want to renew this show. Let's see what the fans think. And like 10 tweets go, oh, you want the show back? They're like, all right, cool. It won't be part of the fall schedule, but like maybe summertime. We don't have anything slated for the summertime. We'll slot it in for like an 8-episode run in July and August.
We got you.
It'll air Thursdays at 2 in the afternoon. Yeah.
So if I know I got 10 viewers, like that's awesome. Good for us. We'll finance it. And it's like all low budget stuff, but they let you do whatever the heck you want to do. So I'd be trying to work with the CW if I was like a creative type person. That would be my deal.
Yeah, I'd be all over that. You know, but the other thing aside from reboots is just sequel upon sequel upon sequel and spin-offs that just and I'm saying this because Hasbro has just announced AllSpark Studios, the basically just Transformers movie studio.
We will bring you to the theater with the AllSpark.
No.
That was pretty good.
No.
Was that Optimus? What?
Optimus Prime. Listen, nerdy
Welcome,
boys.
special guest.
We are on an adventure to the planet of something. I don't know that much about Transformers. It was on when I was a child, and I had the toys. But around the story, I don't really know. I saw the first movie. It was not awful, but the other ones were crap. AllSpark.
All right.
That's our new little whatever. I don't know what it's called. Fucking Christ. Our little commercial. Send that to
Thank you,
podcasts.
Peter Cullen, for stopping by.
Oh, God.
Voltron Force. Form arms and legs and body. Planet
Keep on going, all right.
Red lion, blue lion.
That's one.
purple
Yeah,
lion.
that's one you know.
All right. Fantastic. Oh, boy.
I don't know.
You were kind of getting into like old school wrestler kind of talk there in a little bit.
into a Slim Jim.
Snap into a Slim
Yes.
Jim.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're just doing voices.
This
All right.
is delicious. I thought it was just a stick, but I snapped it and it had beef inside. Mm.
Okay. That's not actually a commercial. We're
What?
good.
That's our new sponsor.
That's our sponsor this week. No, but AllSpark Pictures, sure, cool, whatever. Make more Transformers movie. Why not?
Great.
I'm already desensitized
If we're
to all
gonna
of them
make
anyway.
movies about toys, why not a movie about a board game?
What? Why not
Whoa, what?
a board game from an app? So,
What?
first big thing
What?
we've got the Settlers of Catan board game being turned into a movie, which is
Fucking
spectacular because there's
No.
not enough wheat-based sheep movies out there. I
That's
think
what
we
we
Really,
need
Yeah.
more
the
of these.
agricultural genre is completely ignored by Hollywood.
Exactly.
Like,
This
the
is a
fact that there's
demographic
not-
they're
yeah.
not tapping.
It's unbelievable that there's not more movies about farmers and growing of grains and
Yep.
shearing of sheep. Like, these are interesting things. Why aren't they being
The only-
explored in a giant cinematic grand scale?
Right.
Yeah,
This
the only
seems
ones
like
are
a
like
total
documentaries.
missed opportunity.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Sure.
I've been clamoring for this for years.
Wait, hold on. I'm just hearing from our producer. Nope, this is total shit. Yeah, no,
Oh,
this is not.
that makes sense.
Sorry, this is going to
Well,
be a bad thing. I just can't imagine this is
This
going to be a
just
good
in.
movie. This is going to star The Rock. and it's going to be an action movie that's just
John
called
Cena.
Settlers of Catan.
It's going to be a horror movie where people are killed with what's that big giant blade thing? You know that you get the wheat with, the thing with the
like
stick and the
scythe?
curved. Yeah, that thing. The murderer is just going to chop people's head off with that.
So it's just a metaphor for the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Played
So
by
they
The
just
Rock.
settle. They just get into Catan, and The Rock sets land there, and they do some like shady stuff where somebody's hiding in the wheat. The wheat's really tall, and it's like somebody's hiding in there with like a glowing scythe, and it's like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? They stay at a cabin somewhere.
In the
They
woods.
try and do all that. Yeah. I see it.
And a plot twist at the end, the guy in the hood is Chris Catan, and it's actually him.
Oh,
He's just killing all the other men that come to the island because all the other women have settled for him. So that's exactly how it works.
That's what that's about. That's how the board game works.
Do you remember the little monkey character he used to play on Saturday Night Live? Peepers,
Yeah.
Mr. Peepers?
Yes.
I would rather watch a 90-minute movie of Mr. Peepers eating the apple and blowing it in people's face. That would be more entertaining to me than I think the Settlers of Catan movie.
You know what? I have to think you're right. I have to think that you've nailed this on the head.
So which board game, we were talking about it on Twitter, that's where this came from, this whole whatever, but which board game movies actually worked and which ones didn't? Because there's a whole lot more of them that didn't work, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I can't think of
was
any
good,
that
right?
did work. Clue was adequate. Clue
Yeah,
was fine,
Clue was
but Clue
okay.
was basically just an idea, and that's great. I mean, take that. But Settlers is an idea that only really works as a game. There's no story to it.
No,
Well, I mean,
they did that with
does give
Battleship.
you the creative control. You are building off of a concept, and now you can construct the story.
You have a name.
Kind of like that, the shitty Battleship movie that came out a while back.
Hey, screw
Yeah, that
you,
was
man.
awful.
Battleship was really cool.
U-571 was that Harrison Ford? That wasn't. That was not
No,
the
it was
Battleship
Hunt for
movie?
Red October
No.
with
Right.
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
That's the one I'm talking about, right? That's the one.
Come over here,
Sure.
honey. I'd like to undo that bow and get to know you.
Well, you know what? I'm waiting for the movie based on the board game, based on the app Fruit Ninja. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's where I
So
think this is going. That's the future. The future is coming.
So what's
Dude,
going on with Fruit
Apple's
Ninja?
new
What's
investment in
this?
augmented reality? If there's not an AR Fruit Ninja game, that's a massive missed opportunity.
Complete failure right there. Yep, I'm with
Yeah. I want to slice the fruit off people's heads. That's what I want to do.
you. Ooh, yeah. You better hope it's a
Nice.
virtual sword too.
Yeah, well, it's
Yes.
augmented reality.
I'm just
Right?
saying. Don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
Your
don't pick up
hands
a
are
real sword,
swords.
please. I could see you. I could see this going very poorly for you.
Yeah.
I would love to have real sword fights, but it's very dangerous.
Tim, I'm
You can
I'm
LARP.
concerned for you. You may want to
Let's LARP.
rethink. Oh, hold on. I'm looking in the wrong direction. There you go. You may want to rethink your life, Tim.
Why?
Because I don't know that I'd want to swing even virtual swords at people's heads to cut fruit. I don't think I need this. I guess I'm old. Get off my lawn.
Get off your lawn. You're not that much older than me.
They already have Fruit Ninja in the arcades and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
Fruit Ninja became a huge thing out of nowhere. Kind of like
this was-
Angry Birds and all those other apps.
This was one of the apps that made a big transition when Microsoft opened their own Apple stores and had the giant Surface screens out front. And that was the big draw, was people coming over
Yeah.
and playing these stupid apps like Fruit Ninja and Flappy Bird and Floppy Bard and Flippy Bip. Because after he took Flappy Bird down, there were a billion clones of it.
Yeah.
On the big screen right outside the Microsoft Apple store.
On the huge screen.
Yes. Speaking of huge, William
Yeah.
told us we need to talk about the robot battle that happened between the U.S. and Japan this past week. Sort of.
Did
I saw
miss
some
this?
of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You were in the conversation on Twitter.
I
On the
was?
tweet box.
About
No?
robots?
Okay.
Yeah.
He
Hold on.
Yeah.
he added us about giant robots, U.S. versus Japan, and it was pretty interesting.
It was
Hold on,
definitely
I'm
a
looking
at it right
YouTube
now.
video.
It was like 25 minutes. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but it was something that I spent time on.
Yeah. I mean, this was the result of a Kickstarter to raise money to build giant robots, to fight them, and they just... I got to tell you, you know what? Let's get real for a second. I'm going to lean in close to the camera here.
Ooh, okay. I'll lean in too.
This is not a good idea. Because we have BattleBots, and as a huge fan of BattleBots, I got to tell you, BattleBots is fucking spectacular. And this was not. What you've done is you've made it less interesting by putting a man in the cockpit and then showing me this 26-minute video that was obviously scripted and done poorly and had none of the actual things that you would see in a real robot fight. I'm disappointed, I'm angry, and I'm going home.
Bye, Kevin.
It was not good. No.
Didn't we talk about this movie last week? Pacific Rim?
It's not a movie.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim.
But that's what it should be. This was not. This is basically two modified farm implements accidentally running into each other.
Are these guys with American flags, like sport coats on? Am I watching the right video?
Yeah. So that's the American team. You've got two guys in that robot or those robots. And then you've got one guy in the Japanese robot. And there's three robots in this thing. All three of them are super top heavy. And all it would take is a stiff wind if somebody left the door open to knock them over. And you actually see that like 8 minutes into the video. But I just don't like, none of this is how it would actually be. And this is all scripted and just thought up ahead of time. Because there's at one point in the second fight, the scaffolding falls on the announcer's table. But nobody was hurt because they were like, oh, I think that's going to fall. And then they ran away. And
so it's robot wrestling.
It's robots it's not even wrestling. It's robots just rubbing up against each other.
Yeah, but wrestling is scripted. That's kind of where I'm getting at.
Oh, yeah, no, you're exactly
right. We've been watching
right.
humans do this for decades.
This is the
so
WWE
why would it be bad
of
to do it with robots?
It wouldn't be bad to do it with robots if it was better done. But the robots are not well done. I mean, this was just...
How does JFK play into this in the rocket launch? I'm not understanding.
Oh, man, you got to watch more.
I don't know.
You got to watch more, man.
I'm getting there. Hold on. There's no sound, so I don't know what's happening.
Watch the rest of it later, or don't. It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't
honestly, it's
matter.
just not. It's not there yet, and it's okay. But we're in that infant stages of Pacific Rim, so it's not interesting now. But I appreciate them trying to do something and them trying to. I don't know if there's a lot of robot enthusiast fighter people that back this thing. Obviously there was, because it's a whole thing now. So
these robots
go watch.
Look like a cross between Pacific Rim, the Avatar fighting robots, and Johnny 5 from 1980 something.
They do look like they have a toolbox strapped to the arm.
I get that. Conveyor belt feet. Like, this is weird.
Johnny 5 is alive. Unfortunately, so are the two guys in the first robot after it falls over. So there's that.
Oh, God.
Man, there's a lot of buildup before the fight. Holy crap. Like, just get to the damn fight. This is called Robot Duel. I want to watch robots duel, not people in just talking. What the frig is this?
All right. So let's move on. Was there anything else you guys needed to talk about?
No.
Tim?
I think we're good.
Did you rant enough? You ranted enough.
One thing I'd love to go off on here.
Hit me, and then I'm going to play Jerry's voicemail to us.
We've talked about this before a few times. This whole Kevin can't wait. Kevin can wait. I'm not sure what he's doing. But
we don't
killing
know
off the wife and all that stuff. Apparently they handled it as terribly as we thought they would and just kind of glossed right over it. So people were like tweeting at Leah Remini, and she's tweeting back like, thanks, hun. Thanks, sweetie. Like, forget about it, nerds, and stuff like that. And she said, like, it's a sitcom. It's not that serious. And there's more important things going on in the world. Like, why don't you worry about that? This is how you make your living. Like, if people didn't worry or care about this stuff, you would have no money. You would have no money, no job, no purpose in life. So, like, I'll give her a little credit. She did make a couple of other decent points in her rantings. But, dude, make your living by being a stupid sitcom actress. You've never done anything outside of that that's worthwhile. You played, 10 minutes in Old School, and you were adequate. Like any other actress could have played your part. Like you had zero contribution to that film. You are a stupid sitcom actress. You have been in stupid sitcoms, and that is it. So don't get on people for caring about your stupid sitcoms, because it paid your way into Scientology and paid your way out of it. So, if this is your new crusade is against Scientology, all that money to do any of that stuff that you wanted to or could have done or be crazy enough to get into Scientology in the first place came from stupid sitcoms. So why don't you deal with that?
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly right.
Agree.
I love
Retweet
actors.
that.
I love how stupid they are. We saw, actually, there was one thing we brought up. Did we bring up the Blink 182 Kickstarter last week, or did we miss that?
No, we did not.
No, we didn't.
No.
Yeah, Tom from Blink 182 has this alien obsession and wants to create a spaceship that can instantaneously travel. I was reading about
he's going to.
Yeah. Oh, no,
Just
he's
wait.
going to.
With my hundreds of dollars I'm giving him.
I was reading how
Yeah.
Terrence Howard believes that 1 + 1 = 1.
Whoa.
And so there's that, or 1 time. What is it? 1 × 1 = 2. That's what it is. So he believes 1 × 1 = 2. So
that's how
you know
you're
what?
gonna get to space.
Yeah, no.
You challenge
just-
that conventional math, Terrence Howard. You challenge that conventional math.
There's more to it. It's a deeper thing. He doesn't believe in the construct of the blah blah whatever. But it's proof that famous people aren't smart. Come on, recognize that at the very least you're smart enough to know that this show is paying you money.
Come on.
And that money lets you be stupid. Great. Move on. Oh.
Some celebrities are smart. Let's not knock them all. Some celebrities are smart.
No. Some of them are super smart.
Let's not be celebritist. Okay, we can't paint them all with a broad brush based on a couple of dummies. But
that's exactly right.
They're not any smarter than us, byproduct of being famous. Let's just recognize that. There you go.
Exactly.
Sure.
All right, so let's go out on a higher note before we get into the main topic. I'm going to play Jerry's voicemail to us with any luck.
Yay.
Oop.
Whoa.
Or not. We're just going to wait this out. Ooh, that was terrible. All right, I'll be cutting that. Sorry, Jerry. I'll edit it into the podcast, but anybody that's listening to this on or watching this on YouTube, I muted it on my part. There we go.
Oh my goodness.
How's that? Is that good?
It's significant.
It's like the Transformers took over.
There we go. So
I feel like like a mining bug from the Matrix has gone into my brain.
Yes,
seriously.
Actually. Who am I? Am I Tim?
Cut it.
We've switched bodies.
Anyway, for anybody watching on YouTube, you're going to have to go and listen to the actual podcast to hear what good things Jerry had to say about us, or what terrible things he had to say about us, because I'll be editing in and editing this out.
Anyways,
right.
Let's get into the main topic.
Huge topic.
Let's. Yeah. So, this week's main topic is going to be Adam Sandler. We took a look at the movies of Adam Sandler and just we're going to rank our favorites and talk about specifically, what's the new one that just came out that we watched today or yesterday?
The Meyerowitz stories.
Moskowitz Chronicles.
The Meyerowitz stories, yeah.
There you go.
So we'll be talking about that too.
Because that one just came out on
stories,
Netflix. It's a Netflix original.
New and selected. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler.
Sure.
Richard Sandler.
Adam
Sandler was born in 1966. He was born in the Bronx, New York, I believe. But when at age 6, he moved to Manchester, New Hampshire, which is not far from us. Kev, how far? Well, it's farther from you. It's probably about 45 minutes from where I am. So pretty close. And so that makes an interesting thing. Adam Sandler's that guy around here. Maybe not, again, south where you are, Kev, but where I am. Everybody knows someone who knows Adam Sandler. It's really kind of humorous. He's one of those, my cousin, he knows Adam. They went to, nobody really knows Adam Sandler. It's just one of those things like, my sister, she went to school with his niece and then they spoke at the commencement. So they're friends. No, it's
Yeah.
not how it works, guys.
My cousin Joey's barber's cat's former owner's roommate once saw him at a deli.
Yeah, everybody's got an
Yep.
Adam Sandler connection. It's hilarious. But yeah, Adam Sandler, he was born in New York, lived there for a little while, then grew up in Manchester, New Hampshire. A lot of his work, some of it you see has that kind of New Hampshire type of vibe to it, but he still claims New York roots. And he went back to New York to study at NYU. He was roommates with Judd Apatow. Very interesting thing. Big time
Oh, I didn't know
powerhouse
that. Wow.
roommate tandem right there. But as soon as Adam Sandler graduated, he started working right away. Got on the Cosby Show he was one of Theo's friends for a couple episodes. Background kind of part, a little bit of speaking, but background kind of part. And then he was on an MTV game show. And then he made a terrible movie called Overboard. But Dennis Miller found him and got him on SNL. And that's where things really started to happen.
What things?
Well,
What
I thought somebody
happened?
else might take the baton right there. I don't know. I was just kinda,
no. He fucking
I was
killed
opening up
it
for
on fucking
conversation
Saturday
right
Night
there.
Lives. I don't know.
No, I mean, honestly,
No, it's like-
he was a great character on SNL. Like, all of the characters he played were great on SNL. I loved, like, that was to me the golden age of SNL. I loved watching it. I loved him in it. He was, weird and wacky and fit the bill, but, just kind of SNL broke after that. I don't think we've had really good seasons since.
Well, we
So
can
I think
discuss that
I
another
Those were
day.
kind of like
I
the golden.
strong disagree with that. Strong disagree.
We'll have an SNL
oh.
episode soon.
Yeah, because I
Sure.
strong disagree. But anyways, Adam Sandler was fantastic on that show, and but it does showcase part of what has made Saturday Night Live so great. Lorne Michaels is on record as saying, A, he didn't want to hire the guy. B, he didn't get it. He didn't think he was funny. He thought he was stupid. But he said once we put him on, and he did a character on Weekend Update, he says the young people that the young people, they love him. He's like Dr. Evil. That's kind of where the Dr. Evil thing came from, was Lorne Michaels. But yeah, he just recognized that there was something there that, while he didn't get it, was a big thing. So he just let it go, and he let him and Chris Farley just go nuts. And Adam Sandler created all these wonderful little characters. It was always a boy or a man. It was Opera Man, Canteen Boy.
Cajun Man.
Cajun Man. Yeah, he was always like, it was very simple. There wasn't a lot of depth to Adam Sandler's characters, but they were very funny. And of course, his musical styling has lended himself to doing funny stuff on SNL. But yeah, he just exploded. People especially younger people, just ate up his absolute goofy, silly, crazy antics.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if anybody was doing that like him before that, would make these sort of characters. I don't know. He just was something different and a breath of fresh air when he finally came in. You know what I mean?
No, complete agreement.
Yeah, and it took just a ton of energy, and it went. He's a talented. The thing that was hiding behind all of that was that it was a very talented guy. We've seen it, to some degree with acting. I think when he's tried serious parts, he's been successful. I think he's maybe been a little overrated. We'll get into that, but he's an extremely talented musician, more talented than he wants to let on, is what people around him say. I mean, he took voice lessons when he was a kid, and his voice teacher was quoted as saying he could be a serious musician, that when he portrays his real voice, it has excellent tone, great pitch, that he could be a serious musician. He plays piano, plays guitar, plays everything, writes goofy songs, but really what resonated was the goofy songs. And that was a huge, it was viral video before viral video was a thing. Like, everybody, you have to go see the song that Adam Sandler just wrote. And I mean, there's what are some of your guys' favorite ones?
8 crazy nights. I'm telling you, the Hanukkah song was just spectacular.
Oh man, yeah, I heard that one like on CD, and my dad had all that stuff like on. I don't know if he bought it or if he burned it somewhere, but he had them all his like musical stuff like on CDs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, no,
and
I owned all of Adam
them,
Sandler's CDs. I'm happy to admit that. I think that his music was wacky and weird. I think it fit him. I think that the music itself, you're right, Tim, it was music, and it was maybe not up there with Weird Al, but as far as comedy music goes, there's none like it.
Well, the thing with him versus Weird Al is Weird Al songs were parodies of other songs,
Yep.
not to take anything away from what Weird Al did in his genre. Adam Sandler was writing original music.
Yeah.
No,
you're absolutely right.
Everything from the melody to the lyrics were original, and they were funny. I mean, the Lunch Lady song, oh my gosh, I died laughing. I listened to that song thousands of times, and you'd still just die. Sloppy Joe, slop. And that's
sloppy
the
Joe.
thing. Like, you've got this whole story that he's painting and telling, through the verse. But then you get to the chorus, and it's actually a catchy hook. It's like, and the pepperoni pizza was a looking at me. Sloppy Joe, sloppy Joe, singing sloppy Joe. And you just
meatball sandwich.
Meatball sandwich. Yeah, it was a thing. Like, the hook was actually catchy. Like, there was some musical talent interwoven into this completely ridiculous premise of the food coming alive and hating on or coming to the rescue of the disgusting lunch lady. So that stuff lended itself well to the CDs, and just the little comedy bits that were interspersed within it. The Fatty McGee bits. And listen, I mean, obviously some of this is completely politically incorrect, and maybe some of these things
insensitive, but it's funny. It was funny.
They wouldn't
at the
even
time.
be around now. But
yeah.
back then, in 1992 or whatever it was, I mean, listening to Fatty McGee go, Fatty, why are you out of breath? I went up the stairs. Fatty, why did you take the stairs? I like the stairs. And it's so stupid, but when Adam Sandler does it, it makes you laugh. And that CD, his first CD, came out, he won a Grammy for that. It was recognized as comedic gold, and it sold like crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And then going on from his Saturday Night Live career from the 90s, 90 to 95 about, and he went into movies. Well, he's been, doing some stuff, but this is him as, his own movie as the lead character in Billy Madison. So I know a lot of people on Twitter had strong feelings about Billy Madison. Where does this one, his first, starring movie, I guess, where does that rank on your list for Adam Sandler?
It's my all-time favorite. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, period.
Yeah.
I have Happy Gilmore in first and Billy Madison in second. So yeah, I'm not far off from you, Tim.
Yeah, we'll get into the rankings officially later, but
but
Billy
sure.
Madison, to debut with Billy Madison, he knew it was very clear that he knew exactly who his audience was, and he knew exactly what they wanted. His audience was mostly young guys, and they just wanted the goofy Adam Sandler. The story didn't matter. The genuineness of the premise didn't matter. It was just this guy being a complete goofball and being given the freedom to run wild with that. And that's where I think Adam Sandler's movies shine their best. We've seen it throughout the years. So he has some of the highest grossing movies of all time. He's grossed like $25 billion total. But even the ones that made the most money, he has some of the all-time worst reviewed movies ever. Like, I think Waterboy or Big Daddy or something like that was like a 40 on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, it is critically slammed, but it made $1 gazillion. And the thing with Adam Sandler, and what I wish he realized at this point, is really just steer into the skid. You're most successful when you're being you. The more ridiculous the Adam Sandler movie, the more I like it. And Billy Madison was that perfect just ridiculousness, but also at that time it was lightning in a bottle because it captured his innocence. He was still a young guy. He's still in his 20s at this point. He's 29 at this point, so he's a young dude, and he's got this youthful innocence where he can get away with yabba dabba doo and stop looking at me, swan, and a whole dialogue about which shampoo is better? No, conditioner is better. And then justifies why. Shampoo goes on first and makes the hair clean, but conditioner makes it silky smooth, and then whacks them together, throws them in. Stop looking at me, Swan. Like, there's only a certain person at a certain time where that could ever be funny. But Adam Sandler made it tremendously funny. And there's just so many things inside Billy Madison that you can just quote and mimic and imitate and try to. And just 30, what is it? Is it 30 years later? 20 something years later. Good. I didn't want to feel that old. 20
No, I
something
know.
years later, you can still go back with your friends if that's a fan of your movie, and you could just make Adam Sandler references from Billy Madison, and instantaneously the smile will come on your face. It's just that type of movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I think they did capture some of that lightning in a bottle again with Happy Gilmore the next year. 96, Happy Gilmore. It's got quotable lines. He's maybe not as innocent, because I see exactly what you're saying with that, but it's still that, like,
The character wasn't as innocent.
yeah,
but
yeah.
Still,
exactly.
it was him.
It's he's still that, like, unknown idiot, and he just doesn't really know what he's doing, but he bumbles through because he's pure of heart. And I love it. Great movie.
Yeah. We have some people on Twitter that really liked Happy Gilmore at Fried Bologna. They picked Happy Gilmore as their favorite Adam Sandler movie. That's really hard to say. You know who you are. Said Happy Gilmore. Obviously, that's a lot of letters. And who are these people with the worst ats?
Oh.
I'm never gonna find you. At Nerd Girls for Life with no vowels and Z's and Y's in there. They said Happy Gilmore because, my God, fighting Bob Barker and getting his ass kicked. LOL.
The price is wrong, bitch.
And that's
But
the thing. He brought other
really
people in on the
Happy
joke.
Gilmore.
He was so infectious in his style of comedy that he brought Bob Barker in on the joke. Bob Barker, says something completely irreverent and ridiculous and out of character because he's with Adam Sandler, and that's just what you do. Like, everybody just gets caught up in it. Look at the villain in both of those first two movies. These guys who are good actors, and they just they say things like, what is it that Shooter says in that movie?
I eat pieces
Shooter
of shit like you for breakfast.
Yeah, just stuff like that. There was another line that I was trying to think of, but yeah, just stupid,
You eat
silly
pieces
lines.
of shit for breakfast?
See, he just drags him into the lowest common denominator, but it's fantastic. It's what he does, and if
So
you
good.
play along, you're going to see success in it. I mean, the run that he went on, just starting with Billy Madison, it's unprecedented. We talked about when we did the group comedy thing how Will Ferrell's first few movies were so good, but Will Ferrell was still a part of an ensemble cast in most of them. This is Adam Sandler driving Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Wedding Singer, Waterboy, Big Daddy, like right in a row. Tell me any of those movies aren't fantastic.
No, I mean, really, even Bulletproof, he was really funny against playing opposite Damon Wayans in that. He's just been consistent up to that point,
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that's highlighted in those movies, those first string of movies, is that he knows what he is. The audience knows what they're going in for, and the more ridiculous, the better. Like Big Daddy is the most insane premise. It tries to be serious.
Sure.
It tries to be serious at times, but you still get caught up in the heartfelt elements of it. Like, he's trying to adopt this kid, and he has no rights to this kid, and he lied to people, and really the kid should be taken as far away from him as possible. Like, that's exactly what should be happening here. But he's in this courtroom, and he's making this heartfelt speech, and then his dad just goes, "You're an idiot." Yeah. But his dad gets on his side, and it's so absurd. And you got people yelling from the courtroom, like, "I need a sandwich," or what, all this different, like, all this stuff. And it's just so crazy, but you're caught up into it, and you're actually, like, inspired by it.
Sure.
You're inspired by these long dialogues of ridiculousness that has no business being in film, but it just somehow it works. It's just a magic thing that he had going in that 5-year period. It was tremendous.
And in Big Daddy, the little kid's name is Julian, so that's super cool. I think in the Wedding Singer, that was sort of a little different from both Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison. How did they receive? Because I wasn't old enough to understand the box office or anything like that, but how did people receive The Wedding Singer in 1998? Because I know now that it's a fantastic movie. I really liked it, but coming from in the timeline right after Happy Gilmore, and he goes right into The Wedding Singer, how did that play off? Did people really see him as this. It is a little bit more serious, still goofy, but it is, him playing a different role in the 80s that they were trying to do. And how did people receive that movie specifically? Do y'all remember, or do y'all not?
No,
do you not like the movie?
I think it was well.
Yeah. I mean, you have to go back and look at it. The critical reviews were terrible, as per usual, but it made $123 million at the U.S. box office, which back then, $100 million was the marker. If you were a $100 million movie, that was a smash hit. So anything over $100 million in the 90s was a big hit.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to see it in the theaters. I remember all of my friends going to see it. I saw it at least once. Mm-hmm. And I think I've seen it every time it's been on TNT since, because
oh yeah, it comes on all the time.
Yeah, I mean, every time I turn on the TV to TNT, I think it's playing.
And it was a different movie. It went from him being this I don't know, like kind of more masculine, in a way, lead character to it was his take on a romantic comedy. I mean, let's call it what it is. It was a romantic comedy. It just Adam Sandler-fied. And he and Drew Barrymore obviously had great chemistry, and it allowed him to bring his musical side into it. He wrote that song at the end, but that goes to the same thing as I talked about Big Daddy. At the end of that song, he's on a plane and he's playing this song. And it's this, the movies always build up to this one kind of ridiculous, triumphant moment that has no business existing. The decathlon in Billy Madison, the athletic decathlon, the speech in Waterboy, the in front of the crowd, all that kind of stuff. Like it's just, none of these things have any business existing in life, but all of his movies kind of build up to that one thing, and it just works.
To some moment.
Yeah, it just works.
It works, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people really liked The Waterboy as well, and he did that the same year as The Wedding Singer. So those are two completely different movies and ways for him to express himself, and that's super cool. And we already talked about Big Daddy that came out in 1999. Probably one of my favorites because, I don't know, I could just watch it over and over again. Just the kind of the dynamic and the setting, which was really cool, which was just him being by himself with this kid. He doesn't really know what to do with it or how to, it's pretty fun to watch him figure it out.
So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at his IMDb page, and my eyes keep going from 1999 to 2002 with Mr. Deeds. Yeah. And no matter how hard I try, I can't look at 2000, little Nicky. I just can't. For some reason, it's like the silence from Doctor Who. The second I look away, I forget that it exists.
Yeah.
I was working at a movie theater at the time that Little Nicky came out. And obviously at this point in my life, I'm a huge Adam Sandler fan. And I went in on my lunch break to watch bits and pieces of that movie countless times because I wanted to like it. And I was trying to find ways to defend it. And I did. And looking back on it now, those defenses were ridiculous. It's a terrible movie.
I just can't. Like, it was such a terrible, the accent was terrible, the premise was fine, but the whole thing was just weird. And I think that was a little stumble, and I don't know that I ever saw Punch Drunk Love.
Punch Drunk Love was fantastic.
Mr. Deeds was pretty good.
I loved Mr. Deeds. Mr. Deeds is actually one of my favorites of his. Very quotable.
Yeah, and then there's a couple of little shorts, and then we get to Anger Management, and that was decent. Mm-hmm. I just, you know what? I don't think it ever builds back up for me after that. You've got 50 First Dates, Spanglish, but Click.
So where was his peak?
I think his peak for me was probably, I think we've passed it. I think it was probably in Happy Gilmore, that era, like The Wedding Singer, right in between those.
Any of those movies, 1995 through 1999, that run was amazing, and Big Daddy was fantastic. So I can't say he was past his peak at Big Daddy. I think that was just one big, long 4-year peak, and then after that, it's been, I don't even want to call it a roller coaster ride. It's more like a stock market ticker. It's boom, 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 like up, down, and down. More downs than ups, I would say. Like we talked about it that Little Nicky was awful. But Punch Drunk Love was a really good movie. It was critically very well received. It was when people first realized
Sure.
that he could be a serious actor, and that may have been not a good thing. It may have detoured his career a little bit. But I mean, I liked some of the other ones after that. Mr. Deeds I thought was great. Anger Management I thought was great. It was his first time in Anger Management to really play off of somebody who was his his superior, and from an acting standpoint, but even from a box office standpoint, his equal. You know, so he was really playing off of someone in that movie, you know, with Jack Nicholson, that it wasn't an Adam Sandler movie at that point. It was an Adam Sandler and Jack Nicholson movie. And he did okay, but Jack Nicholson was really funny in that. Again, he kind of got Jack Nicholson does comedy well anyways. I don't want to take anything away from Jack Nicholson, but he got pulled into Adam Sandler land, you know, and he did some goofy stuff, and it was funny. 50 First Dates was pretty good. The Longest Yard was meh.
Spanglish? No? Nobody for Spanglish? That was probably one of his best.
Saw it.
I had a hard time with Spanglish because he was great in it, but I didn't really love the movie. It was probably the whole storyline for me. What did you think about that one, Jules?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. A lot of people really like it. They don't like that it was named Spanglish because it doesn't really do much for the story. But I mean, it was a pretty good cast. And like I said, I think I liked him better than the actual like story. I think he just did really well in it, better than what I thought of Anger Management. I wasn't really a big fan of Anger Management, or better than he was in The Longest Yard, because The Longest Yard was just The Longest Yard was kind of a group thing, I think, over just an Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, it wasn't his best part, but I thought the movie was entertaining overall.
Yeah. So I definitely liked him better in Spanglish than those two. Click, honestly, one of my favorites because of just that whole thing. I don't know, just the whole... the idea, and he's a little older now, you can kind of tell, and he's playing that dad part. I mean, he's played dad parts before, but this one's kind of like, all right, he's like older, and we go through his whole life, and it really made me cry the first time, like that whole ending thing. I was like, whoa, I'm crying in a fucking Adam Sandler movie.
He was so, like, in that scene,
2006.
he was so good. And it shows you that he really can be a tremendous actor. But the problem I had with that movie was it was supposed to be a comedy, and it was just too dark. I couldn't laugh enough at it.
It was super dark,
and it wasn't good enough as a serious movie to stand alone as a serious movie. So it couldn't decide what it was. It wasn't his best job of blending comedy and serious subject matter. It wasn't as good as that can be done. And while his performance was great, the movie was way off balance, in my opinion.
I think that tried to shoot him back into comedy because he did I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, and You Don't Mess with the Zohan, and then Bedtime Stories. And I just think it was not like, none of those really stood out. None of those were spectacular movies.
In my opinion, that 2007, 2008, that 2 years was the last time I really liked Adam Sandler. I don't know how to go about this now, because I haven't seen Chuck and Larry since probably 2008. And I know the world that we live in is different now, and I know that our perception of, you know, different types of relationships is very different now. And not remembering the specifics of that movie, I may go back and view that very differently. But at the time, I thought it was hilarious. And I don't like Kevin James, but I really thought that movie was very funny. And I still to this day, love Don't Mess with the Zohan. That's classic Adam Sandler. That's Adam Sandler being ridiculous. He steered right into the skid. None of that movie has any business being a movie. But I laughed really hard at that character, at the people around him. I thought that was a great movie. But since then, that's where it really starts to go off the rails for me.
But that's kind of the thing, is the world has changed, and that movie shows me that he hasn't. And that's fine. And I think he's trying to do other things now, which we'll talk a little bit about with the Meyerowitz. Yeah, that was 10 years ago.
Chuck and Larry was 10 years ago. I mean, everything was very different. This is pre-Obama. Okay, everything was very different back then.
Sure,
you know, I'm not gonna lie, it really was. So I think people laughed at, and go back and look at Friends. This is just a conversation. Go back and look at Friends. That Friends was a show that in certain ways was progressive. I know this is a tangent because they had a lesbian relationship on the show. They had a lesbian marriage, but there are so many jokes made about being gay and being homosexual or being a girl if you're a guy that are completely derogatory. And we laughed at it. And we go back and we watch Friends, and I think, just because it was what we did before, you still kind of chuckle at it. But those jokes are completely out of place in today's society. Friends went off the air in 2004. This is 2007. This was still a place where people were laughing at that kind of stuff. And I'd have to go back and view it to see how bad it was, or if it was just completely irreverent and you can take it as it knows what it's doing, and you don't have to be mad at it. But people were laughing at different stuff back then. It was a different time. It really was.
Yeah, honestly, I think you are right that he never really got out of that. And we do have some gaps in what he was doing here from, not that much. He was in Funny People in 2009.
Funny
2010.
People I really liked.
Yeah, but it's just there's a whole string of movies here that I just haven't seen from him, and I don't care to. Like, I never saw Grown Ups. I don't think I saw Hotel Transylvania. If I did, it was so non-memorable.
Yeah,
I know I
good.
successfully avoided Jack and Jill.
I've seen them all. I've never
seen Blended, Top 5, Men, Women, and Children, The Cobbler. I watched Pixels on a Dare, and it was actually, despite what it was, he was fine in it. Like, it wasn't as bad a movie as it could have been. It wasn't as good a movie as it should have been. The Ridiculous Six, I'm
stuff.
3/4 of the way through. The Do-Over I watched, and it was
You're wrong,
all right.
Kevin. You're wrong. You're not 3/4 of the way through The Ridiculous Six. It never ends.
Oh, then I'm just going to stay wherever
it's on a loop.
Percentage
that
through.
Movie just continues to go forever and ever and ever and just circles back around. You're just on a treadmill watching that movie. You think like, oh, here comes the end.
Oh my God.
Nope, not there yet. Oh, here comes the end. Nope, still going. That it doesn't end, I promise. Just so don't try.
Yeah. And we're in that, you're right, Jules, we're in that Netflix era because he's got that deal with Netflix for what was it, 6 movies? So we've got The Ridiculous Six, which was the weirdest sequel to Fast Five I've ever seen. The Do-Over, Sandy Wexler, and Meyerowitz. So I think we're still due for 2 more. I guess.
The Do-Over could have been worse. It wasn't horrific.
No.
And I didn't watch Sandy Wexler. That's actually probably the first Adam Sandler movie. I mean, I didn't see Pixels. I'm not going to count that one because it's I don't know, a kid's movie or whatever. I didn't see some of the kids ones. But if you're talking about the real Adam Sandler movies, Sandy Wexler is probably maybe the first one that I haven't watched. And I just couldn't. After watching The Do-Over and Ridiculous Six, I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
All right.
But we watched the Meyerowitz
totally cool.
Chronicles stories.
Yeah. Let's wrap up with the Meyerowitz stories.
We're going to do a YouTube video on that, guys, I think. So long form kind of extra review. Check out that. But let's get your thoughts on the Meyerowitz stories, just kind of preliminarily.
All right.
First off, like what Tim said, like right off the bat, the cast was ridiculous. Like there is a beautiful just cast of people that I really enjoy, and they just kind of put them all together with some Randy Newman tracks or some music by him and made it a movie. So this is kind of like an indie, a basic, just top of the water sort of review. It made more sense than most indie movies I've seen.
Yep.
So it made the most sense for an indie movie. And I'm like, okay, this kind of actually has a story. Even though, like, for the first hour, you're kind of like, where's the story going to go? What's going to happen?
No, exactly. I mean, you know who's in this?
Everybody?
Who's in it?
Everybody.
Yeah.
Let me run down the list real quick.
Please,
so you've got
hit
Adam
the highlights.
Sandler. I'm only going to give you the ones that you know, and that's still going to go on forever. So Adam Sandler, Dustin Hoffman, Elizabeth Marvel, Emma Thompson, Judd Hirsch. You've got Sigourney Weaver, who actually plays herself, which is interesting. Ben Stiller, Adam Driver. I think that might be Candice Bergen, That's probably the last
Yep.
of like the truly recognizable ones. But I mean, that alone right there, that's a tremendous cast of characters that they got in this movie.
Oh, no, seriously. That was an amazing cast, too. And I mean, Dustin Hoffman was almost unrecognizable in this movie, to me.
He
Yeah, I
was
didn't
excellent
know.
in this.
He was spectacular.
There was some really good acting performances. Adam Sandler was very good. Elizabeth Marvel was very good. Emma Thompson was underutilized but good. Dustin Hoffman was spectacular. He just played this character so freaking well. It was unbelievable. And this is the second time in a row that I thought Ben Stiller at times, well, the other one was his movie, but at times he stole the show. Ben Stiller is becoming an amazing actor, so authentic in his portrayal of emotions. Really good.
Yeah, well, I mean,
man, that scene where he was crying, Jesus, that was real. I felt that. I was like,
that's pretty true of comedians, though. Like they master the emotions, and so when they want to become serious actors, I mean, not that comedic actors aren't serious actors, but when they want to become more serious roles, they can because they've got that control. And you see that in this movie with Adam Sandler. This was the first time where I saw him in a serious role that I was like, oh, he's a normal person. And I mean, he had his problems.
Yeah.
But I identified with a lot of what he was doing in this movie, and it made me really itchy.
Yeah.
But he was a serious actor in this. It was really
probably
good.
the most real, authentic character he's ever had the opportunity to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like really cool to see these characters portray this family very authentically, and the sort of dynamic they play. They're all such good actors and actresses that they played this dynamic in the way they made this family up. It just seemed so real, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to this sort of family, or at least one part of this, family dynamic in the movie. And they did kind of typically portray the whole, I think, I don't want to go out there and say it, but Jewish sort of, upbringing, the way they, well, I don't know, but I'm working on it. The way they do, that family dynamic, the way, Dustin Hoffman portrays his character, and the way he does the whole artsy thing, and I really liked how everybody was into like art stuff.
We're going to get more into that in the separate video that we're going to post. So what I'd like to do then,
just real quickly, quick on the movie before we transition, to sum it up, check it out. It's on Netflix. Check it out so you can watch our review. Check it out. It's exclusive to Netflix, except for they're doing a limited theatrical run. And I talked about this. I think it was pertaining to, might have even been Ridley Scott, but it was a famous director that was approached by Netflix to do a Netflix movie. And he turned it down because he said, why would I want to make a movie that's for a streaming TV service? It doesn't do service to my film. And he used Amazon as the example of how to do it. It's release the movies in theaters and then bring it right to your streaming service. And Amazon Pictures won an Oscar last year. And Amazon Pictures made Brad Status, which I wrote a review for that you should go check out, which I think is a tremendous movie and should get some award buzz this year. So this is, I think, Netflix's way of going, all right, we're still dedicated to streaming first and foremost, but let's put it out in theaters so that it can be taken seriously, and that it might get some award buzz. So this is a cool way for them to do this. But yeah, check it out so you can watch our review later. Yeah.
So just quickly, I wanted to get Tim, what's your top 10 for Adam Sandler?
I'm just going to do 5. I had a real hard time narrowing it down to 5. I had a hard time with this spot, and I don't want to get into ranking them after that. Billy Madison, number 1. Talked about why. Part of it, too, is I didn't mention this. That was the first movie I ever went and saw in the theater with friends without parents.
Okay.
So that holds like a really special place. So it's got a high place. Yeah. Yeah, in my life. As somebody who's now a huge movie guy, that was the start of this. So that was cool. Big Daddy, number 2. I'm going to go with Happy Gilmore, number 3. Again, most of those first run was the big ones. I love Mr. Deeds. I love the premise. I love the whole arc of the story. I love the ridiculousness. It's very quotable. It's a fun movie. And the 5th spot was just so difficult. There was really like 3 or 4 movies I was trying to figure out where to fit on here, but I'm going to go easy and I'm just going to go Waterboy.
Okay.
Sure.
Jules, what about your top 5?
I think my top 5, it's going to start off with number 1, Happy Gilmore, just because of the quotability, and that's one that I really remember. That and Billy Madison. I think Billy Madison's going to be number 2. Those 2 movies I remember from my childhood, just watching them with, I think maybe on VHS.
Yep.
I think they were on VHS or DVD had just came out, but I remember watching those quite a bit, and those scenes are super funny, just in general. Number 3, I'm probably just going to say Click. I really did like Click, and just because it was just a different take and it was super dark.
I like going out of the box there, Jules. That's good.
I heard you laughing. I hear some laughing over there. I'm totally cool with it.
That's Kevin, not me. That's Kevin, not me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. As long as I don't say any of the Netflix ones.
Yeah,
right?
we won't fly down there and punch you.
Right.
Sure. Click, number 3, and it was really hard. Probably The Wedding Singer, and then Punch Drunk Love. Just some out of the box ones for him.
Yeah.
I really like.
Huh.
I really enjoyed him going outside of his.
I think our tops were similar. I had Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. I had Mr. Deeds in 3rd.
Good call.
Yeah, and then Wedding Singer and Waterboy. So I mean, we're not far off. The only real outliers are Jules with Click and Punch Drunk Love.
I'll forgive him for being
They're
weird.
Good.
You know what? He's younger.
He's an artistic guy. He's a left brain kind of person. That's the right side of the brain, right? The left brain for the creativity. I got that right.
The right side is the left brain.
He's a very left brain
yes.
kind of guy. So, I'll give him credit for going for some of those more artsy, serious movies. Good for you, Jules.
Yeah, Wedding Singer, Punch Drunk Love.
Perfect.
Super interesting.
Yeah. So that's our Adam Sandler.
So yeah.
Yeah, what are your thoughts? 5. Give us your top 5. We already asked on Twitter what your favorites were, but if you want to give us your top 5, feel free. Tell us why we're wrong about some of the stuff. William, I can't tell if you're joking or not, but please hit me up a little further on your ridiculous opinions on Adam Sandler movies.
William had a whole line of all the movies in order, and they're kind of
He has to be joking. Like,
so.
He has to be joking. Guys, go check out our Twitter, tweets and replies. Look for William, WWW Sinclair, whatever it is. You just get at him. He's got to be joking. So just force him to tip his hand there.
So yeah, we want to know what are your top favorite Adam Sandler movies are, top 5. Let us know on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, or you can email us as well. But at Nerdy Things Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, nerdythingspod@gmail.com if you want to let us know there, or you can call in or text us your top 5 Adam Sandler movies. What's the number?
Number is 978-78-NERDY.
78 nerdy.
978-78-NERDY. You go and call us, leave a voicemail. We'll put it in the show. You can text us. We'll read it on the show, whatever. Get a hold of us. We want to hear your thoughts on Adam Sandler. Is there a movie that we missed? Because apparently Blended was a really good movie that William really likes. We didn't really talk a whole lot about that one, but is there one that we missed? Is there something that we did not get to? Let us know at Nerdy Things Pod on pretty much any social media. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast. We really enjoy having y'all listen, and we do it for y'all. We do it for us. We do it for the conversation and to talk about a bunch of nerdy stuff. So subscribe, leave us an iTunes review, leave us a review anywhere. You can leave reviews on any podcatcher and all that stuff. And tell your friends. Tell your friends if you like what we're doing. Because if you have nerdy friends that want to talk about some stuff, let them know about podcasts and let them know we're doing a pretty cool one.
Very nice.
I'd like to thank Adipsia for the use of his song. Friends Don't Let Friends go to TGI Fridays. You can hear more of his music at adipsia.bandcamp.com. He just released a new album called Imbue.
Allspark. Red Lion.
Oh, God.
And I'd like to thank the Bell Curve for the music we use under the main topic.
Right on.
All right.
All right. We'll see you
Thanks,
later.
everyone.
Later, guys.
Bye.
Hey, wait. Are you still listening? You are? If you are, you must really like us. And we thank you for that. It costs some money to do this podcast. We love it. We really enjoy the conversation. We enjoy talking to each other. And we really enjoy interacting with you, the listeners. But it does cost us some money. So we would love to get some support. And we have a way that you can support our podcast that doesn't cost you a dime. You shop on Amazon.com. I know this because everybody shops on Amazon.com. I shop on Amazon. Kevin shops on Amazon. Jules shops on Amazon. The cool thing with Amazon is that if you have a website like ours, www.nerdythingspod.com, you can put links on there to specific products on Amazon. Now, if you click on the link for that product and buy it, it doesn't cost you any more, but we get a little commission off of it, which is kind of cool. The other thing is, if you click on that link, even if you're not buying that product, anything you buy within 24 hours of that link click, we get a commission on. So if you shop on Amazon and you don't go through a website like Ebates or something like that where you're saving money, because we don't want to cost you any money here. So if you're saving money by going through one of these other like Ebates sites, continue to do that. We fully support you and your wonderful frugal ways. But if you just shop on Amazon like a regular person, go to nerdythingspod.com first, click through one of our links, and help us buy the equipment that we need to talk to you every week and make it sound so luscious and lovely. So visit nerdythingspod.com, click on our Amazon links, and buy some cool stuff. Later, guys.
Bye.